Hi everyone, this is Darren. Just doing a quick video for GSNCFL to bring you up to speed on where we are. I think the last time I did a video it was week 2. We're now, of course, just completed week 8. So let's just I'm going to try a new format. Let me know if you like it or not. But what I'm going to focus on a little bit more is just calling out what's happened since there's been quite a bit of time. So, lots of upsets throughout the first few weeks of the year, much more than what you probably see in real life, but it's also good because it helps balance the league a little bit. I think we'll see less upsets as we get more and more human coaches in, but for right now, upsets are kind of becoming the norm in this league. So if you're a top ranked team, you're probably not looking forward to playing a lower ranked team right now. Big upset in this week. This is week 3. Is William and Mary beat Oregon State 31 to 24. Really good game from William and Mary. You can see Boosie caught 9 catches for 102 yards. Um, so it's a huge win for William and Mary. Shockingly enough, that probably wasn't the biggest upset of the week. The biggest upset was probably Utah Tech. Coming back in the fourth quarter, outscoring USC 17 to 7 to win 48 to 45. Despite USC's quarterback Weiss throwing for 531 yards. And then, of course, the other big upset, and this was a really big upset, was Missouri Valley State defeating Clemson 41 to 22. Again, big receiving day for Waite, helped power that win. Where Missouri Valley State got out to an early lead and held it. When we went into from week 3 to week 4, a little bit less upsets in this week. The big upset this week, of course, was Kansas upsetting 65 Toss Power Traps Utah 33 to 16. There weren't really any other upsets this week. Just a team to keep an eye on throughout this is North Dakota State. They weren't ranked at this point. Again, this doesn't carry the rankings of that week, but Invisible has them off to a really good start. In week 5, we saw a couple more upsets again. One game to call out because it was 2 human coaches going at it was Texas versus LSU. This is Kev versus Starfinder. Really close game that was determined late in the game. Texas with Thurman throwing for 264 yards and a touchdown. Texas pulls it out in close fashion against a pretty strong LSU team. The big upset early on, I think we have to go down to find would be Indiana State upset Duke, which is a pretty big upset. You can see here 25-22. Indiana State got really good rushing game going, and they were just able to down Duke in the rain. And of course, that kind of hurt. But another big upset was SMU just smoked Florida State, 58 to 27. You can see that 24 to 7 run in the fourth definitely put Florida State out of it. Richardson, who is the SMU quarterback, had 392 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then the last upset was Colorado State upended Oklahoma 41 to 16. They just jumped out to a massive lead, and Oklahoma could never get their feet back under them. And as a result of that, Colorado State essentially knocked off the third-ranked team in the nation at that point. Moving into week 6, we saw an equal number of upsets again. A lot of teams were just really looking to make upsets left, right. Oklahoma knocked off the number 1 team in the nation in Georgia. This was before Kurtains took over, and that was a fairly big win. You saw Arizona State upend Oklahoma State, which was another big win. Let's see if we can't find it here. It's right here, 39-0. They blanked them. So really strong game. Oklahoma State probably played like the real life Oklahoma State. And that was a really big loss for them. Another upset, maybe not as big, was UVA beating California, who was the number 21 team in the nation. You can see a really wild back and forth in the fourth quarter here as those two teams just went back and forth until Cal finally pulled away from, I'm sorry, UVA pulled away from Cal. They were getting close, right hill, and then UVA scored again to make it a 10-point, and then Cal scored again, and then they were able to just hold off the comeback. And of course, Yee, the quarterback for UVA, had a big game with 464 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then probably the biggest one in the big at that point was, I think it removed the filter I had on. Just go back here, top 25 games. Was Oregon beating Minnesota. Again, it was the second quarter onwards that they just outscored Minnesota, who was the 13th ranked team in the nation. Huber had a big game, 337 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, as Oregon knocked Minnesota off the perch. In week 7, things start to slow down because we're starting to getting in the conference a little bit more. There are less upsets starting to develop. But there was still a couple that kind of were out there. You had a major upset in the big, of course, the Big Ten, which Nebraska upset Michigan, who at the time was undefeated, 24-20, really outscoring them in the fourth quarter to take the game. Pitino, who's the Nebraska quarterback, at 308 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then the other big one, of course, was Alabama knocking off Oklahoma. Kind of an inverse of what happened this last weekend. Alabama just outrushed them, and they had William, who had a really strong game. So uh, last week, just maybe one or two big upsets, nothing really, really major out there. I think the biggest ones were probably Virginia Tech knocking off number 5 Wake, giving Wake their first loss. The Hokies, of course, managed to just keep scoring and hold the lead throughout, with Harley getting 51 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then the other big one was Cal versus Clemson, where number 22 Cal knocked off Clemson to give them 6-2, and they knocked them off in overtime. So lots of upsets, as you can see. Now, I mentioned this earlier, there aren't as many humans in this league as there is CPU. So that produces some of the weirdness that you're seeing. But if we kind of take a look at this, um, let's go back here. The number 1 team in the nation right now is UCF. UCLA is number 2. Kev has the highest rated human team at number 3, also undefeated, which is Texas Longhorns. The next highest is Maryland, who's at 6-0. You have Kurtains with Georgia at 6-1. And then I think you got to scroll down a little bit to find the next highest rated human team, which is actually one of our FCS scores. No shock here. This is Invisible, who's 6-0 with North Dakota State. He's definitely dominating with that team. Probably the big games to watch this week in week 9 is Maryland versus Oregon. Maryland comes in pretty highly ranked, and Oregon will be looking to knock them off. Let's just do non-CPU games. You have USC versus Penn State. I don't think that I would normally say this is going to be a game that the Penn State should win because Penn State is human controlled. However, the coach there has had some issues with uploading, so I am going to say USC is probably going to win this. Beetle seems like he knows how to play the game well. It's unfortunate he's having upload issues. Sam Houston State, this is vgorilla, who is a pro at these type of games. Sam Houston State is having a really good year so far, as you can see. They're off to a pretty strong start. You can't see the record, unfortunately, because that's just something I'll bring up. But you can see that, we'll just go here. I think this will show us the record. And of course it won't. So if you look at it, you can see that they lost 2 here to Notre Dame. Both losses were to ranked teams. So definitely keep an eye on Sam Houston State. They are a team that I think very highly up. Texas, of course, comes in the ranked in the top 5. This is Kev. He takes on Missouri. Should be a big win for Texas. This is a human versus human matchup. This is DWK versus Udo. I kind of like South Carolina in this one, but it's too close to call, so I'm going to push it. Georgia versus Ole Miss. This is Curtin versus Ole Miss. Georgia should win this one easily. New Hampshire takes on William and Mary. This is 65 toss power trap at New Hampshire. I like William and Mary in this one, actually. William and Mary's already knocked off a ranked team. They're a pretty strong team to begin with. And also there's some connection there with me. North Dakota State versus Southern Illinois. This will be all invisible witness in North Dakota State. It's not even going to be close. Northern Iowa versus Youngstown State. I like Tony's chances in this with Northern Iowa. I think he wins this one. All Smiles has South Dakota State. I like his chances against Indiana State, even though they have upset a FBS school. They haven't really done anything since then. 25 Wilson has Long Island. He's taking on Mercyhurst. Long Island is doing really, really well this season. I like this. I like their chances. They're undefeated. Nobody's really getting close to them. So if I had to guess, I say this is Long Island all the way. Gardner Webb versus Tennessee Tech. This is Starfinder. He hasn't had the most best of luck with Gardner Webb so far. Tennessee Tech is actually a pretty good team. I like Tennessee Tech in this one. I hope Starfinder proves me wrong. Chattanooga versus Wofford. Chattanooga's not having a good season. This is Udo's second team. He goes up against Wofford, a team I'm pretty familiar with because I lived in South Carolina. I like Wofford in this one. VMI versus Mercer. This is my second team. I like Mercer's chances. VMI just doesn't have a good team at all. And then, of course, you have the other teams. UCF versus Texas Tech is a really, really big game. Just keep an eye on it. I think UCF is going to get knocked off the number one spot, and Texas Tech should take it. That's kind of it for where we are right now. If you want to join this league, we have a lot of open teams. You do have the chance to come in and actually get one of the higher ranked teams. UCF's open, UCLA's open, Notre Dame's open, Kentucky's open, Iowa's open, Oregon State, Michigan. Stewart, if you're listening, Michigan's all yours, dude. Iowa State, Oklahoma State, USC, all those teams are really up to North Dakota State all open. So hopefully you like the new format. I'm going to call it Theo because I'm trying to keep these videos short. I will talk to you later. Thanks.